Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Today we are going to talk about the adventures of little Muslim heroes. Insha'Allah, we're going to take some lessons from the stories from our Islamic folklore. These are stories that Muslims around the world have been telling for generations. And I want to tell them to you today, because they have hidden in them beautiful lessons that can help us all be better Muslims. Once upon a time, there was a Muslim preacher. He was famous throughout the land for his knowledge and wisdom. But one day a delegation from a neighboring city came to visit him. They were a group of scholars and leaders who wanted to learn from the preacher's vast knowledge. So they entered his house and sat down in front of him. "Oh, great preacher," they said. "We have heard about your knowledge, and we have come to learn from you. So please, teach us how to attain Allah's pleasure and achieve success." The preacher smiled and replied, "What you seek is not difficult to attain. It is written in the Quran, whoever has done good deeds has done it for himself, and whoever has committed sin has committed it for himself. There is no intermediary between people and Allah." The scholars pondered over his words and asked, "So what do you think is the best deed that we should do?" The preacher replied, "You must know that the best deed is the one that brings the greatest reward, and the greatest reward is the pleasure of Allah." The scholars asked, "How can we attain Allah's pleasure?" The preacher said, "This is a great question, but I will answer it for you. Allah's pleasure is attained by performing the obligatory duties and avoiding sins. Allah Almighty says in the Quran, 'O humanity, indeed I created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples and tribes, so that you may get to know one another. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you.'" This verse clearly states that Allah's pleasure is achieved by righteousness and getting to know one another. Therefore you must strive to be righteous and just, and also make an effort to know the people around you. After pondering over the preacher's words, the scholars realized the depth of his wisdom. They thanked him for his guidance and returned home with renewed determination to live righteous lives and get to know their communities better. A man was walking along the seashore when he saw two boys building sandcastles. One boy had built a small castle, but the other had created an impressive fortress. The man went up to the boy with the small castle and asked, "Why did you build such a tiny castle when you could have made a bigger one like your friend?" The boy looked up at the man and said, "I didn't want to make a big castle because I knew it would only end up being destroyed by the waves. So I decided to make a small one that would stay intact." The man realized the boy's wisdom and asked, "Who told you that?" The boy replied, "The old fisherman." The man turned to the boy with the large castle and asked, "Why did you build such a huge one knowing that the waves would destroy it?" The boy answered, "Because my father told me that if you dream big, Allah will help you achieve your goals." The man thought about the two boys' different approaches to life and understood that both were correct. Sometimes it is wise to be realistic and set achievable goals, while at other times, it is important to dream big and trust in Allah's help. He learned that the key is knowing when to apply each approach. When the man related this story to the old fisherman, he said, "You are right. These two boys represent two types of people in the world. One type sets small goals and achieves them easily, thinking that Allah has forgotten about them. They live ordinary lives without extraordinary achievements. The other type dreams big and takes risks, believing that Allah will help them succeed. They often achieve great things that others cannot even imagine. However, it is essential to remember that dreaming big does not mean being careless or irresponsible. If someone dreams of becoming a great leader, they must still put in the necessary effort and work hard to achieve that goal. Otherwise, their dreams will remain just that, dreams." Once upon a time, a young man from Medina set out on a journey to Syria to learn about the world. Along the way, he met a Muslim traveler who invited him to accompany him to Makkah. The young man accepted the invitation, and they continued their journey together. As they traveled, the young man noticed that the traveler always woke up before sunrise, performed his ablution, and prayed. He also observed that the traveler was very polite and treated everyone with kindness. The young man admired the traveler's habits and asked him, "How did you become such a good Muslim?" The traveler replied, "It all started when I visited the Prophet's mosque in Medina. One day while I was sitting there, I heard a voice that said, 'He who wishes to reform his character should emulate the best of character, which is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.' From that moment, I made it my goal to follow the Prophet's teachings and improve my manners and behavior. If you want to become a good Muslim like me, start by emulating the Prophet's character and being kind to others. Inspired by the traveler's story, the young man resolved to follow the Prophet's teachings and improve his own character. He realized that being a good Muslim meant not just praying and fasting, but also striving to be the best version of himself. And this is the end of our story for today. What did you like about it? What lessons can we learn from it? We learned from the story that we should be kind to one another. We should not belittle anyone or think that we are better than them. We should always be ready to help those in need and be polite to everyone, regardless of their status or background. This is the best way to achieve Allah's pleasure and become righteous people. So my brothers and sisters, let us remember that every person we meet is a valuable creation of Allah Almighty. Let us treat them with respect and kindness, remembering that we will be held accountable for our actions on the Day of Judgment. Thank you for listening to this story from the Adventures of Little Muslim Heroes series. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something valuable. Please don't forget to share these stories with your friends and family so that they too can benefit from them. Also, if you would like to support us and help us continue producing quality content, you can reach more people with the message of Islam. Thank you for your passion for learning.